Hey guys, it's time for Breakthrough with Coach Lou. Coming to you live from Accelerate Life University, XLR8Life.com. Coach Lou will help you break through anything that's stopping you. Are you ready to get the motivation, the energy, the life, and all the success you really want and deserve? With no further ado, here's Coach Lou.
All right. Good morning and welcome back to Breakthrough with Lou. Guys, you're going, what's going on, Coach? It's 7 o'clock in the morning, not 8 o'clock in the morning. What is happening here? Why 7? Well, there's many reasons. Number one reason is to serve you guys the best, okay? So 8 o'clock, a lot of you guys have said to me, hey, Lou, I am already at work. And I'm already set up at my desk, or I'm already meeting with clients. It's a little late. 8 o'clock's a little late. Some people are like, hey, it's cool. I get to sleep in an extra hour. I don't have to be up anyway in the morning. But most of y'all have said that you would prefer a little bit earlier of time. Now, I've got you guys out there that say 5 o'clock would be great. Well, that's what Daybreak with Lou at 6 is all about. You can get 6 o'clock in the morning Daybreak. I'll tell you more about that later. That is being revived. We put that back burner just for a little bit because of just schedule purposes. So 7 in the morning. It's a good time to get your Monday morning started, right? What else involves 7, this mystical number 7? Creation of all can be. 7 days of creation, where our week mindset comes from. You know, the week is in the mind, like 7-day week, not week mindset. Because if you're on Breakthrough with Lou, you don't have a week mindset. But think of it, the world was created in 7 days. Okay. Now, I've always had a little bit of this, a little side shoot for you. Always had a little bit of an ambiguity there and said, because somebody said to me once, I'll never forget, they were younger than me and we were talking about God, and they're like, I just can't wrap my head around how all this happened in 7 days, but yet if you ask for a prayer, sometimes it takes so long. Even for the littlest thing, it feels like it takes so long. How did God do it in 7 days? But, now in this modern world, we can't, build I-4 in 7 days even, or we can't pray for I-4 and God comes down and makes it happen within 7 days. And I'm like, well, did you ever think, just as a thought process here, guys, and whatever your spiritual beliefs are, that's your own business, but God being infinite, maybe 7 days to him is 700,000 years. We are the ones that came up with 7 24-hour periods and call it a week. So just think about that. It's all relevant. Have you ever, speaking of time, here's how time can morph, okay? Have you ever had the longest minute of your life? And have you ever had the quickest day of your life? And you're like, oh, it kind of rings a bell. It does ring a bell. You know why? Because if you're like at the hospital and your child's been injured and you're waiting for the doctor to come out, that can be the longest minute of your life. You're like freaking out. Or you can have the most amazing day in the whole wide world where, it's just the most amazing vacation, most amazing whatever it is you're doing. And you go, oh my God, that day flew by. What happened? Well, it's your perception. That's the truth. The reality is, time does not change. You, me, next door neighbor, and the guy in Uganda across the world has the same 60 seconds in a minute, the same 24 hours in a day, the same 365 days in a year. What is the difference between you, me, and anybody else? Whether they're successful or unsuccessful, or whether they're stressed about time and don't have enough time, that's always been an interesting one. But think about that. That is the one thing that is truly equal. Doesn't always feel equal by any means, matter, or form. We all know that. Okay. Have you ever known a college student, no kids, living at home, taking a few courses, and they're always uptight? Oh my God, there's never enough time. I'm so stressed out about time. Then you meet the single mom, 3 kids, working 3 jobs to keep the roof over their head and still has time to take them to dance, read to them at night. And she seems so well put together. And she's got so much more time than that poor college student that takes 3 courses and lives at home. No, it's perception, my friends. It's perception and the way you manage it that makes the difference. They both have the same 60-second minute, okay? And we've all known these people that you go, I don't know how he or she does it. They just manage to glide through it and get it all done, and they're still in a good mood at the end of the day, and they still have a minute for themselves. Then you got the other people that are always in a huff and a rush, and they come in for the meeting and stuff's falling out of their briefcase, and they're always late, and oh my God, there's too much on my plate. And then you got the other person that like cruises through life, and you go, the person cruising through life's got 3 times as much responsibility. What's up with that? That is all your perception of time, number one, and your management of your time. There's a magic word in this world, and we're just kind of randomly, I'm just kind of giving you some random tools this morning as such. One of them, this magic word is no. N-O. Not doing it. No, not interested. Okay, it doesn't mean you use it as this slave driving mindset of no, I'm not doing anything for anybody. No, no, no. Some people get off on that power trip of no. No is and I think the best way I can explain this, if somebody asks you to do something in a few months, and what you got to ask yourself is, if they asked me to do that right now, what would the answer be? And now you might say, it would be no. Well, we don't know this. Okay? If somebody said to you, you want to go for lunch and go have sushi, and that's your favorite food, and you're like, heck yeah, let's go. If somebody says to you, hey, next month there's a sushi summit down at Disney or something, hey, let's go. If somebody says to you, oh, will you come help me move because you got a pickup? Okay, I used to deal with this all the time when I was a young kid. Always had a pickup truck in the neighborhood I lived in. Everybody's broke, and they couldn't, afford movers. And, can you help me move? And I never would say no. Sure. And then I finally realized if I start charging, 80% of them won't ask, and the other 20% will pay, and I make a little side living. But the point of the matter is I couldn't say no. So I'd work and this and go to school, and then I'd be like helping people move all the time, and I was angry about it. I didn't want to do this stuff. I didn't want to have to. Once in a while if it was a good friend, but I didn't want to be the community mover for nothing. Okay? I had to learn to say no, or this is what it's going to cost you. Preferably, this is what it's going to cost you. But the magic word of no, it's okay to say no. It's okay to say no to the things that don't serve you. Because let me tell you something. You might think, well, I don't want to say no to a family member or something. But if you say yes and then you don't want to do it and you're resentful, that creates more problems than just saying no. Find somebody else. Okay? Same thing with a client if you're in business. There's sometimes, it's funny, we were talking about this last night. Somebody, texting away and, I want to do a deal, I want to do this. Then the next thing is, well, how much can I expect to get? Can you give me a list of what the items will bring, at auction? And I haven't heard back from you. Yes, you have. Obviously, you've been talking to several different companies and probably told no. And this was the thing. And now I want to make sure before I send it, I want to make sure we price everything. Well, it's an auction. It goes to the highest bidder. Auction means liquidation. Now, it doesn't mean that stuff always goes for next to nothing or cheap, or, some stuff does really good, other stuff doesn't. But, in the constant on Sunday night, and you're texting on Mother's Day, I still want to be on the schedule like we talked. Well, you never responded. But the problem was I finally looked and said, say no. Just say we're not interested. And Jen's like, well, I said, is it magnificent stuff? No. Is it great? Is it going to help our business grow to the next level, or is it just going to be more stuff? She's like, nope. I said, I think then we have our answer. The high maintenance with the low quality goods, say no. It's not worth the time. Plus, it's, not close by and, in this rush, and that is going to be nothing but the type of client that we will resent. And frankly, if you have a client that you resent, that client is not going to probably get your absolute best. I don't care how we all say, oh, we serve everybody equally. When you resent somebody, or you don't like somebody, or you don't mesh with somebody, there's a good chance you are not going to give them the same level of commitment. Now, we're giving them the same level of service, but you're not going to go way over and above the call of duty for somebody who's an ass. Okay? So I was like, just say no. We don't need it. Honestly, we've got, really good quality clients that would love to be moved up to an earlier date, that we're eager to serve and eager to work with, and that are a pleasure to work with. Why do we want to take on something like that? Okay, so this magical no, it was like that. Oh, yeah, just say, no, thanks. I'm sure you go with one of the other companies. They'll probably be better to serve you. Don't be nasty, but just say no sometimes. Now, sometimes you want to say yes. That's the other thing. Sometimes people get so into, like Boost Coffee, say yes. They get so into the, boom, 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 I'm going to rule here, and no. They know themselves right out of business, or know themselves right out of experiences that they would enjoy. What you don't want to say no to is something great. And we're battling with that right now. It's like, we need a weekend off or something. Well, we have no time. Well, we got to say no to the no time. If your staff can't handle it, you need new staff. Period. Okay, if you cannot be away from your business for a day or two, or your job, if you're a manager, you need new staff. You need a new team, or you need to coach your team to the next level. Always give them the opportunity. I always say, if somebody's coachable, before you get rid of them or say no to them, give them that opportunity. Say, hey, if you did this, and this, basically you're going to save your job. You don't do this, and this, and you don't learn this, you're out. But give them the opportunity first. I always believe in, take that extra minute to give somebody a little coaching, because I've seen in life, it happens with your kids, your spouse, your employees. It's sometimes you just gotta voice your expectations. You have to show what is possible. Okay. And not everybody comes through the door pre-programmed and knows what you want. And let me tell you something. Most people are not mind readers, and most people don't even attempt to be. The ones that attempt to be and go, if you got somebody who you go, wow, this person actually anticipates what I need, or what we have to do to make this a successful situation, whether it's your marriage, whether it's your business, whether it's raising your children, you kind of go, that's worth hanging on to. The absolute, in business, the slug that's sitting there going, all right, I got 5 minutes. Let me turn the open sign off, so, in 1 minute till I can be out the door. I don't want you. Not unless I told you that day, hey, just cut it, you get right out of here now, or that's it, start closing up, because, it's done. There's nobody in the parking lot. It's dead and whatever. But, it's just so funny to, and a shout out to one of our girls who works with us right now. Olivia is amazing. Yesterday I went to, she needed somebody to come in and help because she had a bunch of people coming to pick stuff up. So I came in an hour, and at the end of it all, I'm like, all of a sudden I look at my watch, and we closed at 4:00, and it's 4:15, and she's finishing stuff up, and not in a huff, not in a hurry, no attitude about, oh my God, I was supposed to be out of here 15 minutes ago, and I'm like, wow, that was really cool. That is just, to me, the epitome of what society and employees should be like, not I'm coming here to sit and put in my time. And let me tell you something. If you're an employee out there, I do have a word of advice for you, and I know I'm chaining one thing into another here. Employers these days are looking to pay you on performance, not for time sitting in the seat. Now, it doesn't mean, I had a good day, so I'm leaving halfway through the day, unless you don't have to be there. It is, there are some project-oriented things where you come in, if you get the project done, you're done in a half a day, you're done. Yeah, that's great. And you deserve to be paid for what would have taken a whole day. But if you're in a retail environment, you can't go, okay, great, we hit our sales goal, I'm out of here. I get that there's opening hours in businesses. But if you get your projects done and half the day is there, you don't sit there and boot up Facebook and scroll on your boss's time. You're a slug if you do that. Unless your boss says, hey, you know what? We really rocked it. We're done. It's quiet and got 15 minutes to go. Just hang out, throw something on YouTube, chill out if somebody comes in or something. That's a different story. But if you're done with the requirement, you don't just sit there and stare at the ceiling or act like you're working or, have your scroll going. You find something else to do to help grow that business if you want to grow. If not, somebody's going to say, see you tomorrow. And they're going to go, oh, I won't see you tomorrow. You don't work here anymore. I'm not paying you to sit on Instagram. I'm not paying you to be on Facebook. Now, I am paying you to be on Facebook if you're advertising and posting for us, yes. But you know what I mean. So, the thing is there's all this, we're joking around about the 7, about the time change this morning. But what the truth of the matter is there's also, there's power in that 7. It's like, hey, did you get this done? No. Did you try 7 times? What? I tried twice. Well, keep going. Because usually around the 7th time of going at something, you've got 6 times of not getting it done, quote unquote, little baby failures. I don't want to call them failures, but failure's not a bad thing if you learn from it. Usually in the 7th time, all of a sudden you start making distinctions. And then Dean Graziosi had a cool thing he does. It's called the 7 Levels Deep exercise. This is where we're probably going to leave it this morning. What he does is he sits down with a coaching client or anybody he's working with, and he goes, so why do you want X? Say for instance, why do you want to work out? Well, I want to be fit. So why do you want to be fit? Well, because I want to look better in my clothes. Why do you want to look better in your clothes? Well, because I haven't had a date in a long time. Why do you want to have a date? Well, because I want love and connection. Why do you want love and connection? Well, because I'm afraid of being alone when I get older. Why are you afraid of being alone when you get older? Well, because I saw my parents wither away because they were divorced and alone. And then, well, why do you not want to be like that? And then all of a sudden somebody goes, well, because I want children and I want to be able to contribute more. And all of a sudden it comes out. And usually tears pop out about that. But it's the funny thing about that is that the reason I call it the 7 Levels Deep, and sometimes you hit it in 6, sometimes it's 8. But almost always it's the 7th time you re-ask those questions that somebody goes, you see it. They go from to, oh my God, this is what I really want. This is what's really important. Okay, and I'm not woo-wooing you to death, but, there's certain things that work. There's certain formulas that work. And there's certain times of day that seem to work better. It seems to be 7 a.m. on this. So put in the chats what you think, guys. If you're watching live or if you're watching on a replay, let me know. And by all means, if you are on a venue, ultimately like YouTube or something, where you can like, or Facebook, if you're seeing this on Facebook, please like, share, and subscribe if you can. It helps me. It helps me help you. I'm burping a little bit of breakfast there. Helps me help you grow, learn to grow, contribute, and be a better person. Not that you're not a good person already, I'm sure, but good, and this is what I'm really going to leave you with this morning. Good is not good anymore. See, I'm going to tell you real quick. Used to be in the world, if you did a poor job, you got paid poorly. We're going to use a job as an example. If you did a good job, you got paid good. If you were excellent, you got paid excellent. Okay? Now, the reality is, with the different standards, if you do a poor job, you're out. You don't get anything. You get fired. If you do a good job, what do you get? Poor rewards. And that really sucks. People say, that really sucks. You know, you hear it all the time. Somebody will say, I was a good parent. Why is my kid such a screw-up? Why are they on drugs? Why are they in prison? And it's sad. The truth is you did a good job, an average job. Then you got the jump up to excellence. You know, somebody's excellent at what they do. They're one of the best. They're amazing. They're a great employee, a great parent. And, you know, reward time comes around. What do they get? Good rewards. Okay, good. I'm this much better. I put this much more effort in. I put this much more time into something. I put this much more heart and soul. And what I get is good. Yeah. Yep. It's the world we live in, guys. So what the heck? Well, the good news is there's one level up from this. And it's from excellence to here is about a tiny shift. And that is outstanding, where you stand out from the rest. Okay? I mean, like, stand out. You shine. You're the best. What kind of rewards does that person get? Outstanding rewards. The best. They get it all. Okay? It's like the Olympics. Gold medalist, the outstanding, gets it all. Silver, okay, that's excellent. They get a good result. Bronze, that's good. They don't really get much of anything. Nobody's like after the wanting to give, endorsements to the bronze medal winner. The silver, maybe. You're second best in the whole wide world, and you're pretty good. Okay, cool, you're good. Gold medalist, you're it, baby. What does number 4 get? Thanks for showing up. See you later. No recognition. Fourth best, fourth fastest in the world, fourth best at what they do. Nothing. Okay? So what does that tell you? And you're like, well, I'm trying to get fit, but I'm not necessarily going to be the most outstanding in the gym unless you want to be. I mean, if that's your goal, it's not about that. It's about how do you show up? Do you go to the gym and oh my God, this is annoying to me yesterday. I'm on a machine. I'm doing legs. So I'm doing leg extensions. I'm going back and forth with pull downs. And this old dude, I don't know how much older he is than me, but you just, flopping around the gym. I've got my drink holder and everything, my magnetic one, stuck on the machine, and I'm going back and forth, and you can see I'm supersetting. Goes and sits on the machines looking at his phone. I went over and I snatched my drink thing, put it on the next one. There was another leg extension machine, so it wasn't the end of the world. But he's one of those that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, sit there for 5 minutes. You don't need 5 minutes in between sets. You should be doing another body part. But I was like, that is just, you're taking up space here. You're not doing anything. And I get that some people might not be at the same fitness level. They may not, but do your thing and get off the machine. You want to go sit and scroll through your phone for 10 or 15 minutes. There's chairs in the gym. Okay, go sit over there. Don't sit on a machine and take it up. But you know what? I realized real quick, I'm in there, boom, 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 back and forth because I didn't have much time. I was ready to. I get in. I'm ready to rock. It's not social hour. It's not time to hide from the family or anything else. I'm going there for a purpose. But I realized that's the difference. That's why he looks old, and he's probably not that much older than me. But he looks old and decrepit and slow and just, like, gotta go through the motions. Well, gotta go through the motions, whether it's at the gym or at your job, is going to get you out the door. You're not getting anything. Okay? And now I also realized, as I'm looking around, that there's some people in there that have arms this thick, thicker than my head, and stuff like that. Now, I've always been noted for my arms, but they're, not as big as they've been. They're not at their biggest, but they're getting back there. But I'm also not looking to be the guy that's like walking around and like looks like he's wobbling back and forth because he's so muscle bound. To me, that's not being outstanding. Outstanding to me is my level of feeling amazing and having the energy to do this stuff, and still having the energy. If I got to lift something and put it on a truck, I can do it. Okay. And the endurance to do my races. Okay, I'm not competing, and here's where it's going to come, where I'm going with this. I'm not competing with the big guy in the gym that looks like he's going to tip over because he's so muscle bound. And I'm also certainly not even competing with the guy who wants to sit there and use the machine as a chair so he can scroll social media at 60 years old or however old he is. Maybe he was 50. I don't know. Maybe he was 80. Who knows? He looked like he was 80. But I looked and I was like, there it is. It's a prime example of poor, good, excellence, and outstanding. I went in there with a level of my outstanding, not to have everybody go, look at that dude, he's so well built, or look at how he exercises. But I didn't go in there to kind of, okay, I did my 30 minutes at the gym today. Yeah. And I mean, I have days like that. We all have days like that. But I went in with the outstanding mindset that I'm going to get an outstanding workout. Not that I'm so great. And then my workout to somebody else might be, that's a joke. And to another person, they're like, oh my God, how do you do it? And I'm not there to compare with the other person. The reason I use the example of the probably poor level of effort, then there was the outstanding level of effort. There was a guy in there that was in like amazing shape. But the whole point to it is who do you want to be? Do you want to show up poorly? And I'm not only talking for work or at the gym or at anything else. I'm talking in your life, in the way you feel each day. Do you want to show up poorly and get no result? Do you want to just do a good job at something? I'm pretty good at this and get poor results. Do you want to do really good and still just get average results? Or do you want to be outstanding in what you do? You choose. You choose this, not me. I don't choose it for you. I have tools. I'm willing to hand you some tools. I'm willing to talk to you. Yeah, you can coach live with me. Man, that's the joys of Zoom and internet. It doesn't matter where you're at. We can do a coaching session live, to where you really take it to the next level. That was so weird. One of my cameras just absolutely stopped filming. Strange. It's been a strange electronics week. But anyway, guys, I'm going to cut you loose this morning. I appreciate each and every one of you who have been on the show. Let me know if the 7 o'clock works for you. I've had a few jokers tell me 5 a.m. in the morning. I'm not doing a show at 5 a.m. in the morning. Even if I'm up, I am not doing a show because I'm not quite the same person at 5 a.m. The adenosine hasn't worn off. And I want to bring you the energy and the best. So, guys, live with faith, energy, passion, always. And I mean always live whose dream? Your dream. Let's get it going here. I'll see you guys on the next roundabout. Lots of love. Have an amazing Monday.
Ready to take it to the next level? Tune in to XLR8Life.com for our live shows, encore presentations, life-changing courses, and live coaching with Coach Lou himself. As Coach Lou always says, live with faith, energy, love, passion, and always live your dream.